Hi there, it's Melissa and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another layout for you for the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files design team, and I'm thrilled to announce that I'm continuing on for another term with this amazing team. So I'm using the Out of This World cut file, and it's a space themed wreath, and at first glance I thought it would be perfect for a baby boy or toddler layout, but as I don't have a baby boy or a toddler as in a boy toddler anymore, and I don't want to go back and scrap too many photos of Sam as a baby because he's already got a couple of scrapbooks full of those kind of layouts. I decided to make it work with a more recent photo of Sam. So I don't bring the photo in until further on in this layout, mostly because I hadn't printed it when I started filming. So I'm just showing you here the cut file, and once again, I hadn't cut it deep enough. I'm using some different cardstock, and I probably need to set my blade to 6 to be able to cut this cleanly, or maybe do a double cut. But it wasn't that bad. I could just trim a couple of the bits up with my scissors. Yeah, so I'm using the hip kit, my hip kit for September, and it has a lot of the Dear Lizzie, is it Stay Colourful, I think it's called, or that may even be her last one. She Shines, I think it's called. Anyway, you know the collection, the latest one, and it's quite a pastel coloured collection, and I'm going with that really bold background pattern paper. That's Dear Lizzie as well. So basically we've got that navy with polka dots and crosses, and then I have backed the cut file with kind of pastel papers. I've left out one of the planets because I'm intending on covering that with my photo. And with the stars, I am using some American Crafts glitter paper, gold, POW paper it's called, in gold. And I must apologise for my voice too. I've got a cold and or hay fever, so that's why I'm really nasally. And so I backed a lot of the stars with that POW paper, and then I've also backed some of them with that, I think it's a Dear Lizzie paper. It's the one that everybody's been using in very creative ways, and I have a plan for some of that paper too. And I just use the corner or the centre of the 4 corners of each square. I've made sure that goes in the centre of my star, so you can see what I mean when you would have seen me backing that other star just before. You would have seen how I placed the star to get that pattern happening. Excuse me. So here I'm showing you how I trim out my cut files once I've backed them. I just use my scissors and fussy cut around them, and it was a bit frustrating with that paper. And what I was showing you there was, this is a photo from when Sam was a groomsman, and as a gift to the groomsman, the groom gave them Star Wars socks, which is why I thought that this wreath with planets and space themed things would be perfect for my photo. So then I had this amazing idea, which in the end turned out to be very difficult, that I was going to back the centre of this, it's like a sun, I was going to, back the centre of it, or make a shaker pocket. And so the first step was to back it with some packaging, and this is just from a Thickers package, and so you want to make sure you're using a package that is clean and hasn't been wrinkled. And so I'm using my Tombow Mono multi, and I've just glued it down, and I'm just gently trimming off the plastic. Now I, in retrospect, really should have stitched this, but I couldn't deal with my sewing machine because it's been quite difficult at the moment, and I really did not want to stuff this up. And you can see at the top there I've done the same thing to the star, but that ends up being the most epic fail I've ever had in my scrapbooking, and I don't even leave it in to show you because it nearly resulted in a meltdown. Well, it did result in a meltdown. So here I'm using the Spiegel Mom Scraps Vintage Dowry collection that we got for the team up with Spiegel Mom Scraps a couple of months ago, and I thought the colours were perfect for this cut file. That does not come in the kit, obviously, but I don't mind mixing my own stash with my hip kits. And so I've just arranged them. There's some little There's not stars in that one. I've arranged them, and then I've put more glue down, and just, this is where I get a bit concerned because I don't want the glue to bleed over into the pocket. Long story short, it did not work at all for that star. I had to cut off all of the plastic. Some of the plastic would not come off the cardstock, and so I'm just gluing over the top and then going with backing the star with that paper plane paper, which I think is also geolithic. So I was really, really concerned because I had put hours and hours basically into backing that cut file, and I did not want to have to deal with throwing the slide away. And one more thing I'll say is, here you can see me trimming out that star, or sun, but the way I backed that sun was to use that ombre paper that's got all little squares on it, and I just went in order of those colours and backed each little ray on that sun, and I think I went round like a time and a half of the number of squares. So I hope that makes sense. If you've got that paper, you'll know what I mean. And I guess that's what took a lot of time too, was backing different parts of this cut file in different papers. So sometimes if I'm being lazy or I want a certain effect, I'll back a cut file all with one paper, but in this instance I put a lot of time into separating out different elements with different papers. So here I'm using some chipboard to back my cut file because I could just throw this away, but it would be a waste, and I was watching someone else's video recently where they reminded me that I could use this, and I have used it in the past, and I think it provides a similar dimension to the foam anyway. And so it's a bit fiddly, but best of all, it has adhesive on one side, and then I find it really easy just to put my Tombow Mono or any liquid glue on top of that chipboard. And then I needed foam to back the little shaker pocket I've made because it will bend, and I have used glue on there as well, but I do find that glue on that craft foam isn't that great. I'd rather use double-sided tape. So while this was fiddly to stick it onto the cut file, it was really quick to stick it down because all I had to do was just put liquid adhesive on all those bits of cardstock, chipboard, and also the foam. Now I did not put chipboard on every little tiny star. They were already lifted up and I didn't think they needed it. So there's the dimension provided there. There is the planet that I'm not backing because my photo is going to go there. Excuse me, I've got a cough as well, which makes me think it's a cold, but I don't know. So here I'm putting that glue down. I did think about doing some gold splatters or some white acrylic paint on my background, but in the end I decided to just go with it plain, and I think because that background paper has got those dots and crosses on it, it didn't need anything else. So this is another layout where I don't heavily embellish because two reasons. The backing of the cut file is a huge embellishment in itself, and also because I do like to stick with my kits and not mix too much in, but this was a full themed kit and a lot of the elements didn't really go with the Star Wars space kind of theme. So I've gone with that pretty little studio flare badge that says "Love This." I thought about adding in those leaves because this is taken outside the photo, and I love the fact that Sam is the only little face you can see in this photo. It's just so beautiful. And I must also say that I did not take this photo. I'm not claiming to have taken the photo. It was taken by the wedding photographer. So I'm using my new glue dots to glue down that flare badge. I think that says "Happy Place." I'm using that little, and yeah, it's got floral on it, that little circular die cut. Adding some enamel dots, and I did think about adding a third cluster of them, but in the end decided it didn't need it. And now I'm starting to work on my title, and in this kit you've got these kind of green, quite large enamel kind of letters, and you've also got these really giant, beautiful white thickers that are way too big to fit as a title on this layout. So also these I think are from the same collection, some word and phrase stickers, and I just went with 4 that went really well with this page. And then of course, I have to journal, so there was the issue of what do I journal on, where do I journal. I don't have a white pen at the moment that I could journal on here, and I think it would get lost anyway. But luckily, and you'll see it in a sec, we have the Office Hours collection cardstock stickers from Pink Fresh Studio, and some of them are perfect. And I didn't need to say too much because I do have a series of pages documenting the wedding and Sam's role in the wedding. So all I really had to say was how excited, or I think I said excited, or happy he was to be given the Star Wars socks. So I'm just adding that. And then I will add another little label for the date, and because I'm filming with my phone, I had to find the date. No, I don't think I do that on camera. I come back and do it. So that there is where the date will sit, and then I added another little sticker that says go for it. And that's my final layout. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It had its stressful moments, but it all came together in the end. So thank you so much for watching, and make sure you come back over the weekend on the Facebook group where we are having a takeover. And there is the link to the Etsy shop. Thanks for watching.